Stage 1. The Spark. San Francisco at midnight is just a neon cage that costs way too much. Max is 20 years old today. He only has $78 left now. He works 10 hours a day in a cafe just to stay invisible here. He lives in a tiny 2-room apartment with his parents and little brother. His father tells him that time is the only thing he actually owns. Max stands in a long line at the gas station to buy coffee. An old man in front of him buys 10 lottery tickets with cash. The jackpot is $500 million, a number Max cannot even imagine. He doesn't believe in luck, but tonight, he feels a strange, cold curiosity. He spends $5 on a single ticket. He lets the machine choose. He stuffs the ticket into a book and forgets it for 3 days. 3 days later, he is lying on his bed, scrolling through the news. A link pops up. The winning numbers for the mega jackpot are live. He grabs the book. His heart starts drumming against his ribs very loudly. Number 1 matches. Number 2 matches. His hands start to shake very violently. $560 million. The screen seems to be screaming today. His first thought isn't joy. It is a sudden, sharp, and terrifying fear. He realizes that if people find out, his old life is officially dead. He calls the cafe and says he is sick. He cannot go back. Stage 2. The Secret. The Hidden Millionaire. He lives a lie for 3 long days. He talks about college applications while $500 million sits in his pocket. He searches online for lottery winners. He finds stories of ruin and death. He realizes he needs a shield. He needs a lawyer who knows business. He finds a number online. A lawyer who specializes in these massive windfalls. The office is on the 50th floor. The lobby is made of marble. The lawyer is a shadow in a sharp suit. His voice is professional. He tells Max that an individual name is a target for every scammer. They set up a legal trust. Max becomes a ghost in the system. He has 2 choices. Take 30 years of checks or one big pile. He chooses the mountain. Taxes eat half of it before he even touches. $143 million land in his new bank account today. It is much less than the first number, but it is still enough. He goes home and tells his parents. They think he is joking first. He begs them to keep it secret. He sees the panic in them. Stage 3. The Leak. A secret this big is like water in glass. Within a week, his mother tells her sister. Just for a little prayer. 3 days later, a cousin from a different state calls his mother's phone. The news spreads through the neighborhood like a fire in a dry forest. Max's phone starts ringing with numbers he hasn't seen in 5 whole years. Old friends text him. They all have a sick parent or a debt. He walks to the grocery store. People he doesn't know start pointing today. He feels like a walking ATM. He doesn't feel like a person now. He officially drops out of college. He doesn't need the degree anymore now. He quits the cafe. The owner doesn't even ask why he is leaving. The freedom feels like a vast, empty room. It is terrifying and quiet. He realizes he has nothing to do for the next 60 years today. He decides he needs to spend. He needs to feel the win physically. He buys a pair of designer sneakers for $2,000 in cash. The thrill lasts for 15 minutes. Then the hollow feeling returns right now. He needs more. He needs a house. He needs to escape the neighborhood. Stage 4. The High Life. San Francisco mornings bring cold fog and the key to a massive mansion. He buys $38 million of glass walls and 8 very empty bedrooms. The house is so large, he actually gets lost trying to find exit. Living alone in such space makes the silence feel heavy and quite oppressive. He replaces his old digital watch with a $100,000 gold piece. He stares at the ticking hands, but time still feels like his enemy. Max buys his father a Mercedes and a professional auto repair shop today. His father holds the keys but looks like he lost his old life. Mom gets a cardigan made of silk that costs more than his tuition. He realizes that buying things for people feels like paying for their love. Max stops looking at prices because the numbers on screen never seem smaller. $100,000 starts to feel like a single dollar in pocket. Lifestyle inflation is a beast that eats his soul faster than his money. The dream life becomes normal in exactly 2 weeks of living this way. He buys art pieces he does not even like just for the investment. The house feels like a museum where Max is the only lonely exhibit. He attends a high-end party where nobody knows about his massive lottery win. He wears a premium navy bomber jacket to look like a regular guy. That is when he meets a girl who smiles with a genuine warmth. For the first time in months, Max feels like a real human being. One night, he tells her the truth about the $500 million. Her expression changes instantly from simple warmth to a sharp and calculated interest. She starts suggesting more expensive restaurants and very specific gifts for her family. Max wonders if she would still be here if the money vanished tomorrow. He realizes he will never know the answer to that dark, painful question. His social circle shrinks until it only includes people he pays to stay. His lawyer and accountant are now his only daily sources of human contact. He hires a therapist just to have someone who will actually listen today. Sitting in that professional office, he talks about the crushing weight of gold. Wealth did not solve his problems, it only made them much more expensive. Stage 5. The Prophet. He meets a man at a lounge who talks about rare classic cars. The stranger wears a branded tracksuit and speaks like a very successful mogul. He promises to double Max's money in 6 months through a secret deal. Max wants to prove he is a businessman, not just a lucky winner. He does not call his lawyer or financial advisor before making the move. He transfers $4 million into the stranger's account with a single click. The first month brings photos of shiny vintage cars in a massive warehouse. The second month, the messages become shorter and much less frequent than before. By the third month, the phone goes dead and the warehouse is empty. Max stands in the dust, realizing he was just another target for greed. His lawyer tells him that a lawsuit will take at least 2 years. Max does not care about the loss, he cares about his own stupidity. He starts seeing scammers in every shadow and every smile on the street. Paranoia begins to rot his mind like a slow and very poisonous gas. He stops answering the door even when his own mother comes to visit. The family gatherings feel like shakedowns where everyone wants a bigger piece now. His cousin asks for a luxury phone while his aunt needs dental surgery. Max shouts that he is not a bank and leaves the room trembling. He realizes that the $500 million has destroyed his entire family. Stage 6. The social desert is expanding, and Max is all alone today. 4 years have passed since the day he bought that winning lottery ticket. Stage 6. The desert. Max attends his cousin's wedding in a massive hall with 300 guests. His uncle sits down beside him with a glass and a fake smile. The uncle asks for a better honeymoon for the kids in front of everyone. A collective laugh ripples through the table, but the eyes are very cold. Max says yes just to end the silence and the weight of stares. He realizes every family gathering is now just a scene for a shakedown. His mother asks why he does not visit the family apartment anymore today. Max has no honest answer to give her, so he just looks away. He stops paying for everything and his old friends change their faces instantly. He cuts off all contact with people who only see him as money. His social circle only includes people he pays a high monthly salary today. He hires a personal assistant to manage his growing pile of financial requests. The assistant is efficient and professional, but she wants a very large raise. They have a loud argument about the value of her time and work. She quits the job and leaves the mansion with a very dark expression. 1 month later, an anonymous page starts posting his private life on Instagram. His address and his expensive car photos are shared with thousands of strangers. Max is never sure she did it, but the timing is suspicious. 2 weeks later, someone tries to break in through the heavy back gate. Max stays awake all night, watching the shadows move in the foggy garden. Stage 7. The prison. He hires a top security firm to protect him from the outside world. Cameras and motion sensors are installed in every corner of the glass mansion. A stranger stands at his front door for 12 hours every single day. Security is not the feeling he expected. It is just another expensive cage. He stares at the monitor screens instead of looking at the city skyline. Every notification on his phone makes his heart beat with a sudden panic. He starts to doubt the people who actually work inside his own home. The driver and the chef feel like potential threats to his safety now. His $38 million mansion is now a high-tech and very lonely prison. The freedom he wanted 4 years ago is now a locked reinforced door. Max sits in the dark with a disheveled suit and his red cap. He realizes that money has not solved anything, it only made walls higher. His only contact is Sarah, his advisor, who brings more bad financial news. The lawsuit against the car scammer is taking years and costing a fortune. 6 years have passed and the mountain of cash is getting very small. The cash is drying up from bad investments and empty rental houses today. His financial advisor sends a formal email ending their long partnership right now. Even his driver stops answering the phone when the last check is late. Max looks at his bank account, and the number is shockingly small today. He still owns the mansion and the cars but has no liquid cash. On paper he is a millionaire, but in reality he is completely broke. He meets a man who promises a way to get it all back. Not the stock market or real estate, but high-stakes online games with odds. Max starts small by selling one car, and he wins a large amount. He believes he finally found a secret path that no one else knows. The stranger says now is the time to go all in for glory. Max sells his house and remaining cars to place one final massive bet. Stage 8. Max signs the final legal documents to sell his mansion for quick cash. He looks at the empty rooms of the house he once loved today. The stranger smiles while Max transfers the remaining $500,000 now. This is the final move to get his entire mountain of gold back. The screen on his laptop shows a digital wheel spinning with green numbers. He wins the first 3 rounds and his heart starts to dance again. He believes he found a secret that the rest of the world missed. The stranger whispers that he should bet everything on the very next spin. Max closes his eyes and clicks the button with his last few dollars. The silence in the room is heavy while the digital wheel finally stops. The screen turns red, and the word "Lowe's" flashes in the dark. He refreshes the page, but the stranger's number is already disconnected for good. Max realizes those first few wins were just a bait for his soul. He stands in his empty living room with only his red baseball cap. The $500 million have vanished like fog in the morning sun. He walks out of the glass front door for the very last time. He has no cars left, and no staff to answer his phone calls. He takes the bus back to his parents' small apartment in the fog. His father opens the door and sees his son looking completely destroyed now. Max realizes he is just a man with $78 in his pocket. The loop is closed, and the giant mountain of gold is gone today. He sits on his old bunk bed and listens to the city noise. He thinks about the man who bought the tickets at the gas station. He finally understands why the old man was complaining about his bad luck. Money did not change his weight, it only made his shadow much larger. He closes his eyes and dreams of a time before the big win. He wakes up to the sound of his cheap digital watch ticking away. He realizes that time is still the only thing he actually owns now. He puts on his worn gray hoodie and walks to the small cafe. The boss sees him and asks if he is finally feeling better today. Max picks up the dirty rag and starts wiping the marble counter again. The steam from the machine feels more real than any luxury car ever. He is invisible again, but this time he feels a sudden strange peace. He sees a customer buy a lottery ticket with a very hopeful smile. Max wants to tell him the truth about the 500 million trap, but he knows that some lessons must be learned through the fire alone. He goes home and hugs his mother with a genuine and warm heart. He realizes the small room is more valuable than any glass mansion built. His brother asks for help with his math homework on the bunk bed. Max smiles because he finally has the time to give his family today. He doesn't look at the lottery results on his phone anymore these days. He is focused on building a life that money cannot buy or break. Statistics say 70% of winners return to where they started very fast. Max is one of them, but he is not the same man now. He has seen the view from the summit, and it was very cold. He walks to the park and watches the sunset over the deep bay. The fog rolls in and hides the giant skyscrapers from his tired eyes. He is grateful for the quiet life he almost threw away for gold. The trap is broken and the cage door is finally wide open today. Max is free because he knows that wealth is a state of mind. The fog lifts slowly, revealing a man who finally understands the true price. He does not need a private jet to feel like he is flying. Max walks back to the gas station where his entire life changed forever. He sees the same red LED sign still flashing the 500 million. But this time he does not even reach for his thin leather wallet. He buys a single bottle of cold water and walks into the sun. The city is loud and expensive, but his mind is finally very quiet. He realizes that the greatest luxury is having nothing left to prove today. His father asks him if he wants to go for a long walk. They talk about small things, like the weather and the price of bread. Max knows that $78 is enough if your soul is full today. The money was a ghost that haunted him until it finally just vanished. He looks at his reflection in a window and sees a new man. His identity is no longer tied to the balance of a bank account. He is Max, and that is enough for the rest of his life. The San Francisco bridge glows in the distance, like a very bright promise. He knows that the real jackpot was the family he ignored for gold. He breathes the cold salt air and feels a sudden and deep warmth. Now imagine this. He is actually richer than he ever was with gold. The story is over, but his real life is only starting right now. If this story inspired you, hit the like button and subscribe, and let's build the future wisely.